We have learned about the causes of conflict, the components of a conflict, and conflict management styles. Now, with this information in hand, how do we transform conflict into something that is handled well? In other words, how can we more effectively engage in conflict? We know that conflict is inevitable, so how can we approach the conflict engagement in a productive way? Effective communication is obviously key, and this training provides a framework for approaching conflict through a 6-step process. But there are 2 critical skills that are essential to conflict engagement: an understanding of positions and interests, and the use of reframing. Let's start with positions versus interests. Think back to the Tale of 2 Conversations video. The parent's position was that her child needed more speech therapy, but her underlying interest, the reason she took the position that she did, was she wanted her child to be able to better engage with his peers in the classroom. Recall that the school administrator took the position that 5 hours of speech therapy a week wasn't a good idea. The school administrator's underlying interest, however, could have been a whole host of reasons, including concern that pulling the child out of the classroom for so much speech therapy would adversely impact his educational programming as well as his opportunities to learn to engage with his peers. Both the parent and the school administrator stayed stuck on their positions and had little to no discussion about the underlying interests which led them to take that position. As long as the parties were staying with their positions, they were destined to end up in due process. But what if they had delved below the surface, below the position, to learn each other's interests? The outcome may have been completely different. Part of that process of going beneath the surface involves reframing that conflict. So in A Tale of 2 Conversations, Part 1, the conflict, simply put, was that the parent wanted more speech therapy for her child, and the school administrator was not willing to provide it. However, if they had a learning conversation, discussing each other's underlying interests, they might have reframed the conflict into, how can we work together to address the child's communication and socialization needs? Do you see that by a simple reframing of the conflict has become a mutual problem for the parties to solve together? This is a simple but powerful tool. Let's watch A Tale of 2 Conversations, Part 2, to see how positions and interests and reframing work.